Some of you on the previous commission have already seen this spreadsheet. I've tried to update it a little bit. I don't have, I got a lot of these estimates 2 years ago. It's hard to keep calling on someone to give me estimates when you're not giving them any work to do. Some of these are guesstimates, close guesstimates. The ones that I do have estimates on, I tried to note when those estimates were given. Some of it, I don't have a clue how much it would cost. A lot of these renovations and things, we need to hire an architect, let him meet with everybody, and put it out for bid. You don't know. With the price of gas and products, there's no way of knowing how much it will cost until it goes out for bid. But these are projects that need to be completed on buildings that we own currently. These are things that will probably need to be taken care of within the next 5 years. Some of these things should have been taken care of last year, but we were hoping to use some of the ARPA money to take care of this, and it is a qualification to use the ARPA money to repair existing buildings that we have. The mayor had asked me to prioritize my spreadsheet, and my top 3 priorities at this point, first one being is the Justice Center. The Justice Center was renovated in 2009, 10. Where did the sheriff go?
That's right.
When we had open house, we had buckets all over the building. It was raining that day and the roof was leaking. Well, the roof has leaked every time it's rained since. The roof has a warranty that will expire in 2025. For those of you who's been on the previous commission, I'm sure you've heard me say at every budget committee meeting, do not spend my capital projects money because we've got $1 million roof we're looking at. We got an estimate on the roof at the Justice Center. It was $817,000, but that was back in March of 2020, so you can imagine how much that's increased by now. We have major issues at the Justice Center, first being the roof. That's the #1 issue. We have issues with our HVAC units. We've had issues with mold growing on the woodwork in the courtrooms. We actually hired, back in 2019, we hired a consultant from Knoxville, and we asked him to go in and take a look at our HVAC units and tell us what's wrong. Because if you walk in that building, the lobby area is great. And if you look at the consulting firm's notes, the lobby area is one area that we don't need to do anything to the unit. But the rest of the rooms are humid. And I was in the clerk's office. We ran 2 dehumidifiers daily. And if we did not run those, our paper would not go through the copier. A lot of the pods in the jail are extremely humid. And although you get a temperature reading of like 69 degrees, it just feels hot and sticky because it's so humid. A lot of the units, 14 units up there are they're 13 years old. 14 units are 13 years old and 9 units are 9 years old. The HVAC consultant said that we had 11 units oversized. The problem is you have a courtroom that has a capacity of maybe 300 people. That only happens maybe 3 times a month. So the rest of the time, that HVAC unit it's large enough to heat and cool a room with 300 people in there. So when there's not 300 people in there, it's not working properly. It's cycling too quickly to get the dehumidification is not working properly. We've had priced units that have dehumidification built into those. I had got quotes on that in 2021 to replace all of them with, that will control the humidity and clean the air, $698,000. Total cost on the Justice Center is a little over $2,151,000. The parking lot is in extremely poor condition. If you drive through there, it's like you're foreground. Big potholes, big dips, it's broken up, it needs to be repaved. We need to replace the carpet with the luxury vinyl. And I have Mr. Woods, I asked Mr. Woods to come here today to speak a little bit about the issues they have up there. Last year, I had to have the juvenile courtroom professionally cleaned twice to remove mold from the bar woodwork.
Ms. Davis, I feel like we're talking about a 75-year-old building here.
That's what it sounds like.
We had this building fixed in 2009, so it's 13 years ago. My question is, we hired architects and engineers to design this project.
We did.
Why are we talking like we have a 75-year-old building that we need to fix when it was only not built, when it was retrofitted 13 years ago?
I can't answer that, Mr. Roach, but it has major problems. Again, the day we had open house, we had buckets all over the building.
And why, was there not some sort of contract/legal action that could have been taken? I know I'm going back and digging up bones a little bit here, but it's a little frustrating when that project was such an expensive project to start with, and we had a lot of citizens in Hawkins County that weren't the biggest fans of the project, and now, 13 years later, we are in a situation where we're going to have to spend $2 million on just the building, not including the parking lot at this point. So
that does include the parking.
That does include, okay, fair enough. So $2 million to get it up to par 13 years after we retrofitted it, and at a cost of how much was it? Mr. Thacker, you're probably around me. How much did it cost to fix that Kmart building to make it the Justice Center?
Over $9 million, I think.
So,
but I believe the architect.
20% of the overall cost we're now having to repay 13 years later.
I think the
11 million.
The architect, I think he died.
Well, I hate to hear that.
Yeah.
But the thing is, for the purposes of being stewards of the county money, $11 million for a project that we're now having to spend $2 million. I just want that to be out there. I know I've probably said this before the last time we had public buildings meeting, and we went through this, Ms. Davis, and I think these projects need to be done, because if we don't fix them, it's not going to be $2 million now. It's probably going to be $4 million in 5 more years.
You're exactly right.
And
So
I think that's part of the issue. A lot of these capital projects have been kicked down the road for so long that they just keep getting bigger and bigger and more cost.
Well, we have an opportunity with the ARPA money to do, if not all of this, a big portion of this. And yes, it does mean that some of the other requests for ARPA money would have to be set aside. But we're either it's a pay me now or pay me later thing. We're either going to have to do this now, preferably with ARPA money, not have to hit any taxpayers with extra property tax, et cetera, for this. If we don't do it now, down the road, we will have to.
Mr. Chair.
Mr. Kelly.
So one question specifically on the roof. So you mentioned that the warranty expires in 2025.
April 2025.
So the cost associated with repairing the roof now, I guess, is that just for the parts are warranty till 2025? We still have to pay for the labor or?
When they put the roof on, it's a flat membrane.
Right.
When they put the roof on, they give you a warranty. It's a 15-year warranty. So most of the work that we have done on the roof is covered by the warranty. but it's reached the end of its life. And by the time that warranty expires, we better have a new roof on there, because we're gonna be paying someone.
If it's in that bad a shape, why can't we have a warranty claim?
Well, I've talked to them about that, and they don't think it's in that bad a shape. But we have had, let me go back and look. I counted this morning,
So I think it's on that.
we have had 154 leaks reported since 2019, fiscal year 2019.
So, I mean, I would say that's something that we need to explore, though, right? Because, I mean, you're talking about, that's a third of the cost that you presented us today. And if it's so bad that we're gonna have to put on a new roof and it's got 3 years left on the warranty, I think the county attorney or somebody needs to go shake those guys up a little bit, right?
What kind of shut the roof off?
I'm not sure who it was. Morristown Roofing does the repairs, but I'm not sure who the roofing company was. All of those renovations were done at one time, and it was all subcontracted. But I think they tried to use a lot of the stuff that they had left over from the other roof to cut corners.
So there's a possibility that, like, are you saying like we may have voided the warranty because of work we've done on it, or something?
No, that's what I'm saying.
Gotcha,
No.
okay, I'm sorry. The other thing I'll say is, this is really helpful. I mean, it has a, large price tag, and I would need, so, and when you said you prioritize this, is it prioritized on the sheet, or is it,
The
were you
back
just kind of
page,
going?
the back
The back
page
page.
has the top three.
There's a total on here of 5.728.
Oh.
The back page though is the Justice Center, the Annex building, and the Courthouse building, which are our priorities. $2,809,000 and $10,000. And I asked Sarah to do that. I mean, we can decide to bite bullet and do this whole thing with ARPA funds. Or we can take the priorities and do that, and then once again, kick the rest down the road and come up with the money some other way.
I think we learned from the school system not to kick the money, kick it down the road, because we know what happened there. And we're paying the price for that still.
All of these things that Sarah put together on this spreadsheet need to be done.
Here's what worries me though. Okay, so whatever we can use ARPA money for, I think is fair, because that's not gonna come out of fund balance.
Right.
But if some of these projects are not gonna be covered by the ARPA money, we just now passed a budget that's getting our fund balance hopefully back in shape again.
Right.
Because we were on a downward trend, in a few years, had we not done something with revenue, we were gonna, our fund balance is gonna get in the danger zone. So what I worry about is, I don't know how much I want to allocate toward these projects out of the general fund until I can see, as a member of the commission, that the general fund is getting healthy again. What I don't want to do is have a tax increase that we told the taxpayers that we were going to get ourselves back in shape where we need to be, and then get ourselves back out of shape again. And I know that there's things that we need to do, and I'm not saying that I want to kick them down the road or whatever and make it worse later. But I also don't want to put us in a situation where we've just undone what we've fixed. So my request is, we need, if we can use grant money to cover these projects, I think we need to try to use grant money as much as possible. But the thing is we come up with all these projects and we keep saying ARPA money, ARPA money, ARPA money, but ARPA money will run out. It's not going to be there, and we've already allocated portions of ARPA money for other things.
Yeah, I've been working on trying to massage all those numbers, and for purposes of that, I've left in the entire amount of this. We can make it work. It's just, there are organizations that have requested some money that will end up not getting it. Where do we prioritize? Do we give them the money and then say we're going to spend tax money on on what we need down the road, or are we gonna fix what we need now?
And these are gonna be, the thing I think we need to look at, these are gonna be long-term fixes, and they're not gonna be reoccurring. Or now, we got all these reoccurring expenses all the time, trying to put a Band-Aid. And if we can get this done, then, you're looking at, you're probably not gonna have to bother the Justice Center for another 10, 15 years.
Hopefully, I mean, this should put us in good shape for quite a
And
while.
same thing with the Annex building, the same thing with the Courthouse building. If we get those things taken care of, then those things that are taken care of, we don't, we're nickel and diming ourselves to death putting Band-Aids on stuff, and I think,
Well, there are things failing in all the other places too. I mean, you look at this building, there's several, there's a couple of different HVAC systems that really need to be fixed. The telephone server is about reached its end of life. The windows aren't insulated. The ramp out here beside the building, if you've ever come up it, the railing's about to fall off and it's not ADA compliant. And we've been working on getting an architect back on that deal. We're gonna do that regardless.
but
And we
the
have-
sums that we're looking at that are not astronomical
Right.
like some of these other sums.
Right.
They're not, and in my county buildings budget, last year I had $40,000 to repair equipment. I spent 55. I had to do budget amendments. And I'm sure this year that will be even higher because the price for trips and things have gone up. But we spent $55,000 repairing equipment last year.
So, I'm sorry, Commissioner Young, go ahead.
I was just going to say, and this would be more painful because there's a lot of projects here I know. Trying to pass some of this, passing huge comprehensive plans like this, right, with, and it's not a blank check, but writing, big comprehensive plans, I think, are a little overwhelming for me to digest. I can speak for myself, I can't speak for the community, but, I would be interested in maybe taking some of these, larger projects as piecemeal, right? So, hey, let's look at the roof project, get some things back, because the truth is, we don't know if $2.8 million covers this or not, right? These, some of these are estimates from that are 2 years old, some are guesstimates, it could be $5 million for our top projects, for all we know, right?
It
With the increase of things.
The only thing that we could do with that is to, if it was the blessing of the committee, is to hire an architect or an engineer to look at all the things that we need, get it out for bid and see how much it is.
Do you have a cost of what it would be to hire the architect?
A lot of times they will charge you a percentage of the total cost of the project.
Most of them work on that basis.
So the thing is with using the ARPA funds, we've spoke with Evan about all these, and he asked that we not do 150 little projects. That if we have renovations in a building, that we take that in as one project.
Yeah, and isn't that similar to how we did with the water projects, right? Didn't we talk about those individually and then pass a
Then
resolution
lump
with
it
them
all
all together?
together.
I don't want to be overwhelmed with a huge packet like this, trying to digest that, right? And I just want to be able to know for sure what we're doing and that the things we're saying are priority, that everyone agrees that they are priority, that it's not just a big thing and we feel, well, we got to do it, so we pass it.
Well,
Go ahead.
this is kept me up nights basically, because, we have until 2024 to allocate the ARPA money. But there are projects out there that if we're not gonna use it for this, we need to go ahead and fund, because there are organizations waiting, et cetera. And that's part of the reason why I asked Sarah to kind of put this in priority order. And if we had an architect look at the Justice Center, the Annex building, Courthouse, et cetera, see where that's gonna get us. But we need to move on it. 2024 sounds like it's a mile away, but it's not. We need to figure out how much of this we're gonna be able to cover with ARPA funds, how much of the ARPA funds we're gonna dedicate to this. As I said, right now, and I have to go back to Evan with what the figures that I've been working on the last couple of days. But right now, I've set aside this whole whatever. And I know it's gonna be more than that. We're not gonna be able to do all of this for that. But just to have a figure to work with,
So,
that's what I've done.
so, Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
would it help? What you're saying is that you would love to see the committee, at least study using $5.7 million of ARPA money
Yes.
to allocate for all the capital projects.
Yes.
You know, in speaking to the committee here, if we make a motion to that effect, it's still gonna have to go through budget committee.
Right.
It's still gonna have to go through the full commission. But if that's something that the Public Buildings Committee would like to do, at the very least, we can move it out of this committee, get it to budget, and then we can hash this out there. We're not committing ourselves to anything if we move that recommendation out of this committee, because it's still gotta go two more places. So,
Well, I will tell you, it's not gonna be a real popular decision, because as I've mentioned several times, there are a lot of organizations that are looking at this ARPA money. But if you step back and look at the fact that if we don't do this out of ARPA, we're gonna have a big chunk to bite off with tax money down the road.
and if we can head off, God forbid, if we can head off any other property taxes increases in the foreseeable future by using ARPA money to address issues we know we have, I'm in favor of that, even though, you know, we have had organizations come to us, but these projects, especially the back three, the 2.8 million, they're gonna have to be funded.
And keep in mind that this will come out of the $10 million portion of the ARPA funds. We had a total of 11.3, so we've got 1.3 that's gonna help several organizations with loss of revenue, things like that, and that's also what I've been working on, and those are the ones that I have to go back to Evan's group with and make sure that they're gonna be able to fit the regulations on that, and they're gonna be able to keep up with the reporting on what's gonna have to be, what they're gonna have to do to keep up with what they're asking us for.
Okay, so, the committee's heard the committee's heard the presentation by, the mayor's office. Would anyone like to take action on this today?
I'd like to go ahead and make a motion and move forward with it. If we get all these things fixed, then we're gonna have money coming in.
Commissioner Barker, real quick, can I clarify, is your motion to cover the entire capital projects at 5.728432?
As of right now, yes.
Okay. The motion's been made to allocate ARPA money to cover the capital projects totaling 5.728432 and 54 cents. Commissioner Kern has seconded that motion. It's open for discussion. Go ahead, Ms. Barker.
I think if we go ahead and get these projects done, that's gonna free up money that we got coming in to do some of these other things that are being asked to be done, because they don't have a price tag like these have. And if we could do that, I think, you know, we don't have our house in order. It's hard to not have our house in order and then try to tell everybody else they've got to have their house in order. So, you know, I've been watching these projects. I've come to county commission meetings for 26 years. Some of these projects have been sitting around for 26 years. And if we don't get them fixed, we just did that same thing with the airport, and we start taking small bites out of that elephant and getting everything fixed. You know, there's opportunities for some grant money to come besides the ARPA money, and I think that, you know, if we can get as much fixed as we can, then, you know, let's get what we can get fixed and try to get our house in order, and then we can look at trying to get other people. We've allocated money through the ARPA money for the fire department. We've allocated some additional money for some other things, and I think that, you know.
Well, we've got $2 million set aside to help the school system with
Right.
CTE, and they're working on a backup plan on that.
Right.
We've got 1.5 set aside for fire departments for turnout gear and some other equipment that they need to keep track and keep their gear clean and their air tanks and so forth. up to date. And there was another,
VFW vans.
yeah, VFW vans. And then we've got some matching money we had to set aside. But I've been trying to decide, and believe me, I said it sort of jokingly that it's keeping me up nights, but it is.
Yeah.
I've worked on that spreadsheet, and, you know, Commissioner Thacker, Commissioner Abbas were just in my office talking about another project that we have to find some funding for, so.
I know what James is saying, because in 2008, I was the chairman of this committee. We worked on trying to get that grinder put at the sheriff's office. I didn't run for 2 terms. I came back in 2018, that thing.
They were still talking about
it.
it, still talking about it.
So we finally got it in.
Do you want me to speak about something before you leave?
They were just here, I think, on behalf of the Annex building and
Okay.
the renovations that
Okay.
need to be
I
done
didn't
over there.
want to neglect.
Sorry, there's just 2 in the office, so
Okay, sorry.
you're fine. Thank
Thank
you
you
all.
for coming.
You're welcome. Thank you.
The Annex building, especially the Register of Deeds office, they're they're on top of each other. They have 5 desks.
And Sarah has worked with them to come up with the lowest cost fix for all of that. It's not like we're gonna blow money. You know, if you've ever been to Judy Kirkpatrick's office, they've got, what, 5 girls sitting on top of each other in there. There's room in the hallway to expand. There's room in the other offices to bring the windows to the hallway versus having them come inside, things like that.
Mr. Ray, excuse me real quick. Mr. Palmer, did you have something?
I did. Before we move forward with, deciding if we want to pay off 5.7 million, Commissioner Gill brought up a good point about the warranty for the roof. Do we want to consult with our attorney before, and if we do have a warranty claim that would help offset?
Well, they repair holes when it comes in the roof. You know, they come out and repair it at
The
no cost
warranty
to
has
us.
been covering the holes.
The fact that
But it's,
been leaking from the very beginning.
well, I mean, at this point, I don't know that,
Yeah.
Well, I guess, and to that point, I still feel like, Mayor DeWitt, if you will ask our county attorney maybe to review the terms of that warranty
Okay.
to see if there's something we did. Why have a warranty if the warranty's not gonna cover what the product is promised to do? And if the roof is not working and there's a warranty there, why are they not covering it? So I think that's a fair question. All right, are there any other discussion, is there any other discussion pertaining to the motion?
To be clear, this motion, would authorize $5.7 million and some change to cover these projects.
It would be a recommendation for this committee to move forward to the
That would
budget.
go to the budget committee, yes, that's correct.
But in the event that some costed more than others and you run out of money, it would be up to Ms. Davis and the mayor to prioritize how the money's spent from there.
That would be.
and I would like to complete all the Justice Center, the Annex building, the courthouse, that's the heart of our county. That's where all of our business is conducted.
That's where we'll start.
And that's what we've got to take care of.
Understood.
First.
Okay.
Any other discussion? Ms. Davis, will you call the roll?
Robbie Palmer,
Yes.
Jason Roach,
Yes.
Josh Gillum,
No.
Charlie Thacker,
Yes.
Nancy Barker,
Yes.
Tom Kern.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right.
5 yes.
The next item on the agenda
That's it.
is